Good morning, good morning. Rise and shine and give God the glory. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's been a minute, and I thought I'd jump on here real quick. It's rainy here, so dark. I kind of overslept, so gotta did my little morning stuff and said I'd jump on here for a minute and see how everybody was doing. I don't even know what's going on in those YouTube streets, but to roll. I'm pretty sure it won't be too hard to catch up on. I wanted to just jump on and stay current. What's happening? What's going on? We had a lot of events going on, or a lot of traumatic things that have been going on around here in the Detroit area, where we had a last week, 17-year-old Land was um here no more as a result of someone tragically ending her life and tossing her aside the freeway. And ironically enough, it's right near my house. Like, the area that I live in is a very small city, and it's normally a very quiet city and very peaceful for the most part. And so not a lot happens here. So to hear something like that and some of the things that have been taking place most recently was kind of traumatic to hear of a 17-year-old girl losing her life at the hands of a 20-year-old allegedly, by executing her, and leaving her on the freeway. It was just so unfortunate. 17 years old, and she had a little girl, and her little girl was said to have been her world. So that was just sad. And that the remains of the other young lady that was that I posted about so many times, in the last year, within the last year, she went missing, and they found out her cousin was the person that had something to do with her not being here anymore. They never found her. Uh, After searching the landfills the entire summer, they had to finally call it off. And then, most recently, a Lyft driver that was dropping a 19-year-old off at his destination, for whatever reason, while he was in back of her, he decided to end her for no reason. A 49-year-old woman who beat cancer, breast cancer, a terrible battle with breast cancer, and she won it, only to no longer be here because someone 19 years old decided to take her away from her family. And she is also from my area. Now she's from my area, but where she passed away was in his area, which is about 30 minutes uh, north of here. So, yeah, it's been kind of traumatic, so to speak. And, it's so unfortunate because, you live your life trying to fulfill those things, you know, that you feel necessary um, to meet your daily essentials and to provide for your family and to possibly make your dreams come true. And you work so hard only for not, for someone else to take all that from you one way or the other. So it's too bad that now, it's not like you can look forward to living your days out um, until you're old. You decide to give up the ghost or, you know, natural causes will cause you to succumb. But now you have to be concerned with someone else making those decisions for you. If it's not sickness or some disease or accident, something like that, this is something that someone else decides to do. And there's no real reason. There is no real reason. It's shameful. It's hurtful. Right? It's hurtful. So, Grand Rising, sweetheart. We're here just talking about a little bit of this movie. How are you? Haven't seen you in a minute. I was watching the T's video. I watched some of it. It's only so much of that I can watch anymore. With Lettieri saying that she and Solar are no longer together, which is the inevitable, right? This is kind of something we kind of figured would happen. But again, sometimes people have to meet their own experiences. Sometimes you have to go ahead and say, okay, let me just go on and put my foot in this hot water and see just how hot it is before before I get scalded. You know, there was there was nothing but red flags in that situation. But um, no, I didn't. Girl, no, I hadn't seen that. I had not seen that. But you know what? I thank God she's with her family because you know what? Some made her snap her butt back in. All of them will, but you know who I'm concerned about? And this time, I'm so glad you're on it. Soka, Jayon. Now, I know that she and Solar, or Courtney, or whatever his name, are really married. Do you think it's his responsibility to get that girl some help? Because she's gone. Like, that child is gone. She really needs mental help. She was not well when she got there. And now it's like she is really gonna go. It's like none of what she says really makes sense, and then she's in and out of personalities. And 1 minute she's a African warrior woman, and then she's a beacon light, and then she's a wife, and it's just crazy with me. Like, why are they still even legally married? And she is committed to Nature Boy. Like, she is really committed to Nature Boy. And then I don't know. I don't know if because she was already chemically imbalanced and then losing her child and going through those hormonal changes really triggered her having a real bad breakdown. But I'm gonna tell you something, honey. She needs some help, and I really, I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. And where did True go? What happened with him? Yes and no. Yes, because he can legally commit her. Well, yeah, I get she is where she wants to be, but she's not mentally sound either. But I guess, as you said, when you think of it, if she's not doing any physical harm to herself or to anyone else, I don't know. But I think she could be, Well, yeah, you're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. And I guess we don't want help, in order to receive help, you gotta first admit that you need it. So I guess you're right about that, and that's kind of the same thing with the Kanye thing. He needs help, and he needs someone around him to help him. But I guess you gotta see that you need it. It's so difficult. It's a complex situation. But where is Drew? Where did he go? Did anybody ever find out where he went? They decided to go back to his folks down there in the dirt back roads of Georgia. And I'm glad about Kendra, though. I'm glad about her. I think and, and wait a minute. What is this about Tanisha being pregnant or Tanisha, what? Malia being pregnant? Is that true? I am telling you, I've been out of the loop. I heard that she was pregnant. I heard that True Love. Um, and I saw that Solar and Terry broke up. Soteria, whatever it's called. Nothing from True, but I hope he stays away from Kendra. And now that's somebody else that needs some serious. But you know what? I'm trying to figure out how to say it. A lot of that was him trying to be loyal and gullible. Now he was abusive to both of them because that military stuff that was going on with that he was doing to that baby, that was too much. And that was him calling himself being loyal to somebody to a fault. But at the same time, I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes I think he actually had feelings for that dude. You said nothing from True. Okay, you said no. You said Janae found out that Courtney was still out. Girl, wasn't that okay, but did that not always be in the back of your mind though that was a part of the plan to get with her and commit and this, that, and the other, and try to get this stuff taken away or whatever. And here's the thing with with Eligio. He still has no remorse over any of the things that he's done. It's like he just does not, he has absolutely no regret, no remorse. And it's so bad, girl, it's so disheartening to see how many people out there on what's that app that they Bigo and all those other apps that still support this cat and still in his corners sending him money and taking his calls and interviewing him and buying his crocodile. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you saw this stuff firsthand, just like the rest of us saw this, and you know that stuff wasn't an act. He was just narcissistic, bullheaded, arrogant, and caught up in his own spill. And he forgot when he was on and off camera, and he let the world see everything. And that stuff was not fake. He was actually beating on him. You remember when in Puerto Rico, where Aya was riding around in the backseat with dark sunglasses on? When those all of them was in Puerto Rico starving to death. When they including him, they was all on that B6 diet, B6 diet, it's dying. And when uh Kendra was pregnant with John and lost all that weight, all of that stuff, it's crazy. And you said that the way Wizzy and Nine said he abused. I know he abused that boy. He wouldn't even let him eat half the time. You remember he wouldn't even let him have a Pop-Tart unless Bishop said it was okay. That was crazy. Talking about you better be glad for Bishop. What? And then they said that he picked Kendra up and slammed her into a wall. He picked her up and he slammed her into a wall and was beating the mess out of her in Puerto Rico. When she left and went to be with them, and then Bishop sent her back and she came back again, he was beating on her in that house. I still don't know how Zoka's tooth got knocked out because she didn't go there with a teeth missing. That's for sure. Yep, she didn't see it. She just didn't see it. And it's like that was a part of her that she had to fulfill. She wanted to be with that dude so bad. She wanted to be with that dude so bad that she she had to walk it out. And she had to live it because nobody could tell her that. And that's how some people are, you know. They have to experience it, they have to see it, they have to live it in order to know that this ain't the thing for you. So you could nobody could tell her. She just, everybody knew, and it was right on the heels of him being arrested for R-wording her. So of course, that it was like Stevie wanted to see what was going on here, but okay. She's trying to delete everything off her IG page, and she's not following anybody anymore. Yeah. Oh, she has a partial. Okay, well, where's the partial? Put it back in because she's too young to be looking so old. And that's the thing. They aged so. Oh my god. You know what? He could have, because he was foolish and controlling like that. Probably told her, oh, you don't need that. Be natural. Be natural. The way the gods want you to be, the universe want you to be toothless. Yeah, I get it. I get it. He was controlling like, well, he is controlling like that. Now he's sitting there talking about how he got people in jail. Yeah, okay, whatever. Which is why he probably out of general population now because people want to harm him because he think he all that. I'm God, nigga. I'm God. I'm God. Yeah, whatever. Not in Fullerton County or wherever you at jail. None of that, bro. But I'm interested to see how this goes because he has these people really thinking that he's coming home. So, but um, no. And to be honest, this only helps the prosecution situation by her knowing that Courtney was still talking to Bishop. It's all I don't know. Has anybody heard anything from Loyal? I'm so proud of Pice. I'm so proud of him getting his mind right. I'm very proud of him. I just wanted I want him to have a relationship with his kid though. I don't know if it's healthy for him and um I don't know why I want to call that girl Cascade, but you know what I'm talking about. To have a relationship, but I think I mean to have it to get back together because I don't think they're mentally good for each other. But if they do, they do. But I would like to see him have a relationship with his daughter, his son. He didn't want her to be the prettiest one there. She got all the attention when she first up. That's just that's petty. That's just petty. But that's him though, right? That's Eligio. He doesn't want anybody to get any more attention than he gets. And he feels threatened by anyone that gets any more positive attention than he gets, which is why he always beat on Velvet. Is because Velvet spoke well or she carried herself in a way that won people over. It was something about her spirit, her personality. It also was something about the fact the way her dad came to her rescue and people admired that type of stuff. But the fact that she had people that were for her was a threat to him because anybody that was like taking the limelight off of him, you my student. I taught you everything you know. You can't take my knowledge and go, oh, what your knowledge gave me right now? 15 or 20, something like that. Armand, that's it. Yeah, Armand. Yeah, proud of him. So proud of him. So proud of him. I don't know all of everybody changed their names. I am but I'm glad that that they're doing well. I'm glad that they're doing well. I'm so proud of him. And I mean, he's so talented. He really is talented. You know, I'm not 100% convinced that Nateri is done with Solar though. Just because of her back and forth in the past. I know that she has that in her nature. So I'm not 100% um, convinced that she's done with him, only because she's still saying like he's a gifted musician. Some of the things that she's saying that leads me to believe that it peace, sweet talks her or something, pacifies her or something. She'll go back, but I hope not. Dalen still has cult mentality as a new wife. She is young and they got tats with each other's name back in the day. Girl, Dalen is a weakling. He wants to be taken care of. He don't want to work. He don't want to do anything. And that cult mentality, mm, you know what? It's an excuse to be a pussyfoot, no, for excuse of a do nothing. You know what I'm saying? He just wants to live off of a woman. He does not want, he wants to do what he wants to do, which is nothing. He wants to be cared for. He does not want to take responsibility for any of his children. And he quotes, has a new wife or whatever he says it is or whatever. Then they need to quit it. And then the fact that Solar still wanted to be polygamous or still is and has other women or whatever the case may be. That was another thing because Jerry really didn't want to share him with anyone. You know, everybody went there to be honest with what it seems like they was gonna go be the top woman for everybody, and then they were gonna be able to change them and make them what they wanted them to be. But they went and ended up being changed. Go figure. It's just crazy. He is. He said he's still going to do music. That's all he wanted to do. And here's the thing. They're not doing music to do anything with it. It's not going to go mainstream. They're not doing music to do anything with it. They're just doing music to pass the time away. You might put it on and get a few hits off of whatever them subscriber places are, Spotify and um, the little sites where you can go on and purchase the iMusic or whatever you want to call it, or iTunes. Or you might get a few hits off of that, all of it, but it's never going to go mainstream. It's not. So they're just doing it as what do you call it? A hobby. It's nothing. People were actually from but you know what? He is the one that was actually gifted. He was the one that was actually had the like his lyrics. Actually, he's more creative, if I could say it in that way. He had more creativity. The rest of them probably were inspired by him with what he was doing. I think him and Caliber did a lot of okay stuff together. Taylor, I didn't really see a whole lot. He was like a follower or something like that. I don't know. Maybe he's good at making beats or something like that. I'm not sure. But I think musically, Armand was the one that carried the weight. The only thing that Nature Boy was good at doing was making words over somebody else's music. Like using somebody shining bright and all that. It was over somebody else's music. That song he made for Velvet to woo her back, he made it over somebody else's music. It wasn't like, he's just good at making something fit his limited vocal ability. And that was that. I mean, he could hold a tune, but he couldn't what I call sing because I mean, my kids are musicians and I've been around musicians all of my life. So he was just, I mean, he could hold a tune, he was all right, but Nothing that I would buy a whole album on, nothing like that. I wouldn't even. But I think that what they did to doctor that up and auto tune it and all that kind of stuff is what probably made him sound a little bit better. But if you got it, you got it. It's their treasure. Nine about to say something. You know what? I didn't really hear, but she probably can because she got that kind of swagger about herself. I see she and Wizzy are a couple now, which is funny from Wizzy denying anything going on with them in the beginning. But um, I guess, to each his own. I mean, I don't know, but musically, they probably would do it. I think Armand is good with production as well, like producing the beats and writing the lyrics and piecing all that stuff together. I don't know who did all the video editing and all that when they were there, but some of those videos that were edited, they were edited pretty nice, but or decent, you know what I'm saying. You didn't hear? No. Oh yeah, you know what? I forgot about that. Yes, I did. I remember that was a couple of months ago. Yes, yes, I did hear that. I did hear that. You know what? I'm gonna say something though. Her mom ain't nobody to mess with. Her mom ain't nobody to mess with. And I think her mom helped to snap her back into reality too. Uh, on top of what she experienced while she was there, because that girl was like, yeah, and dresses and all this, that, and the other. And then she, like the way he was talking to her and treating her, like, you know, it was just, it was just, I don't know. He just didn't treat her right. And he was like, he knows. Well, he knew what he was doing because he always said he was breaking them. He was breaking them mentally, you know. And it's like so much of that going on now on these. He said she wasn't there long enough, so she wasn't. She might not have been fully under his control, but some of the things that he did to her had a long term effect on her, making her be with a man, making her wear dresses, the things that was way out of her character to do. And those were the things that she didn't come there for. She didn't come there for that. She came there to be a part of what they were doing as a whole, not to change her sexuality. And it was like, it was another form, a way for him to control her and to control what was going on around them. Because that was awkward, right? That was awkward to try to have that girl in with a man. And she is, I mean, well, masculine, just as masculine as some of those dudes there. Like, she probably got more backbone than most of them that were there. So, that's kind of sickening. It was just wrong. But I was gonna say, like, and then check this out. By this being that's domestic violence awareness month, look at everything that kicked off throughout this month. The little truths are the the lies now, or they're no longer together. The, it's just Mrs. LaTrue changed her name back to Brianna, and her and her husband are no longer together after exposing that he's allegedly been abusive to her for years. They've been together for 6 years, and he's allegedly been abusive to her, and he's most recently allegedly broke her finger, and um, and then with their housekeeper coming out, and her sister and her dad coming out saying that this is nothing new. He's been beating on her, dragging her across the room, locking her in the room, beating on her, not coming home, not spending time at home, cheating, and all these other things. And then his sister coming out speaking for her brother, but it's been said that he even fat shamed his own sister and whatnot. So with all of that coming out, and then with the Tia Mari situation. Now notice you did not hear anything about why they broke up. They said it just didn't work out, but she did say, um, or it was said that there was no cheating involved. Okay. He's making his own money now. He wasn't cheating. If you were speculating, you would allege, was he putting his hands on? Because that's the only thing that hadn't been mentioned. Was he putting his hands on her? And you will see sometimes she will be posting, and sometimes you will see her at all. Like sometimes they will be on live, and well, he would be on live. She would be in the background, but he would show the kids, but he would never show her. And then there was a time where she had gained some weight, and she lost some weight. Then she gained some weight, and she lost. This was after she had the children. So you never know what they were going through or what type of, and now let me say not all abuse is physical. There are some forms of abuse that's mental, emotional, verbal, financial. I mean, you never know. But for them to be together for all these years, and at this point to say it had to be something kind of serious. But at least, he's able to support himself now. He's on a hit show or what have you. And maybe because of damage control and her not wanting to end his career, they're not speaking on what happened. Now, this is just a thought that I had. Now, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that this is what happened, but the thought crossed my mind, put it like that. But with the LaTruths, or which is Brianna and Robert Hampton, his real name is Robert Hampton. But if you look up LaTruth, you won't see the whole spill of it all. It's just a big, big mess. So with that situation, he was really gaslighting her. Like he videoed him talking to her, and he was really gaslighting her, like trying to, I'm sorry, he was like trying to make her go back, girl, and say, hey, tell him it's a domestic violence or whatever, and it was a prank. We was just doing a skit and this, that, and the other. And he was, you know, he's a narcissist. Like you can listen to his conversation and tell that he's a freaking narcissist. Even the kids got on the live and she said, I hate to bring my kids in this. She said, but he brought them into this. And she said, I was not going to say anything. I was not going to say anything at all about the fact that he had put his hands on me or this, that, and the other. But he is the one that went live trying to defend himself and trying to make up all these lies lying on me or what have you. She said something about him bringing the children up and he was trying to say, I love her. I heard that. I love her kids. I raised them like I'm my own. I've been a good father to them and blah, 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 and all this, that, and the other. And so when the kids got on there and they were saying, listen, what did you hear? Did you ever hear mommy in trouble or what have you? And the kid was like, yeah, well, did you ever try to break the door? Yeah, I kicked the door in a few times because he would lock us out of the room. And I kicked the door and you were screaming and yelling because he was hurting you. Come on now. And then he tried to tell her, go back and tell everybody this was a prank. You're ruining my life. You're ruining my brand. You're ruining my career. I'm going to lose my endorsements. I'm going to lose this, da, 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 da. And it went on even further to talk about how, you know, he was always flossing and how he was providing for them so well, this, that, and the other. And they found out that he really wasn't doing anything, that he wasn't paying for anything. She was paying everything for everything. She was funding their lifestyle pretty much because she's doing pretty well on her own. She has her own businesses. And so she was doing pretty well on her own. And even when they got married back in the summer, now that's the ironic thing. All this time, when they had baby LaTrue, that's what they call her, they weren't married. They just got married this past summer. And she flew everyone in for, I think it was a destination wedding. She flew everybody into, I think it was Jamaica, and all of her family and friends. She paid for that. She paid for everything. And he didn't pay for any of it. But he made it seem like I flew my wife out to Jamaica and we having the time of our lives and blase this and the other. Not to mention the man almost died from cancer. And even though allegedly that he had been putting his hands on her all this time, she stuck with him until he was cancer free. That's just, I mean, come on. What is loyalty? What is loyalty? It's just team unfortunate, to be honest with you. Just so unfortunate. And I just hate to see it because, and it's so funny because Brianna's actually there from Detroit. They're down in Georgia now. And it was crazy because even his daughter's mom, because he has an older daughter that came to live with them. There's just so much to that. They just bought a house and they bought another house together and they just moved in the house like 2 weeks ago. His oldest daughter was living with them. When he left the house after this incident, he left his daughter there with her. Well, the daughter's gone back to her mom now. Because I'm pretty sure that her mom didn't want her in that environment. Her mom got on there and said that Brianna's not lying. He's always been abusive. He's always been abusive. And she also said that Brianna is the one that has been taking care of her daughter all this time. That if it hadn't been for Brianna, there were a lot of things that the daughter, and she's not a little girl, she's a teenager. So that whole thing, that whole thing is just a mess, a total mess. But it's like, it's with anything else, and she said that, people have been talking, even a housekeeper said that she had talked to her and she had been sitting on this for over a year. Because the last time he beat her really, really bad or what have you, or the last time she talked to her about it was about a year ago. She kept it to herself. She didn't put it out there because she was protecting her. But now that Brown has spoken out on her own, and she said, I can finally say what I want to say. She's just like, he didn't like me because he knew that I stand 10 toes down for Brianna. And it got to the point to like her dad is not like Brianna's dad is not like a cusser. Like he used dang gone, doggone, this, that, and the other. But when he was putting his hands on her, he cussed him. He was cussing him out. Like, and then he was antagonizing. Like, if you go back and look at some of those videos of him, like the one where he was recording her while they were on what you call it, FaceTime. And he was recording her. And he said, never meant to hurt you. Never meant to cause you any harm. All I wanted to do was look. And the way he did it was a half-hearted. It was gaslighting. That's all it was. It was freaking gaslighting. It was him simply trying to make her say what he wanted her to say. And he kept gaslighting until she finally blew up and said, no, you didn't. You put your hands on me. And I'm tired of it. You put your hands on me. And she even got the toe that he used and got up and demonstrated. It was what I have toes like that, big, huge toes. And he covered her with it, like said he was capturing her. Just all kind of craziness. He's just narcissistic. And then he was like, he got on one video and he's like, okay, look at this woman. And the way he said this woman was like one of his reaction videos that he do when he's talking about somebody else. This woman, now look closely. She said her fingers broke, right? But how is it that she texting, pulling her dad back, doing it? He just went on and on and on, trying to prove it. It was team too much. Team too much. Let me tell you something. Something I heard when I was a young girl from all my elders. The emptiest wagon make the most noise. The empty wagons make the most noise. That simply means the person with the most to prove, trying to prove themselves out of a lie, always talking the most. Period. Period. The people with nothing to lose or nothing to sacrifice always got the most to say. But in his case, he trying to save his brand, his career, his money, his bag at her expense. He want her to continue to keep quiet about him putting his hands on her allegedly. So he can continue to make his bag. Get on here and tell him this was for domestic. But I know you don't. You tell whatever your truth is. Whatever your truth is. Period. Don't allow someone, and that's for anyone. Listen, This is a God honest truth. And I probably spoke about this before. And I'm not lying. And maybe one day I'll be able to get this person to come on and do an interview with her because I'm still in touch with her. So, young lady was my former employee. Um, she lived across the street from me, and I had a restaurant booth at one of the local liquor stores in the area. And she worked with me at the restaurant, and she was one of my main top. When I tell you top employees, I love her with everything. And so she had her partner, her partner at the time. And he's the father of some of her children. He was living with her. So in order to help out, I employ him as well. For him, basically, to keep the area clean and the dishes washed and cleaning the meat good and all that kind of thing, that type of stuff. So it got to the point to where he didn't want to come to work. So I had to let him go. Because I was like, you're not going to come in here and make $5 for the day and then leave and then want to come up here and borrow cigarettes and stuff from her all day. It was like, no, I'm not doing it. So we went ahead. I let her. I let him go, and I kept her. So he was supposed to be at home helping her with the kid while she was working. Well, once I closed the restaurant down and she started working at a different place and got her vehicle and all this, that, and the other. She had got her vehicle and was doing really well for herself, but he still was doing nothing. So he came when she came in. He wanted his way, and he started beating on her. Well, I was out in my yard that particular day barbecuing, and I heard her scream. And all of a sudden, she broke out of her door and ran to me with a towel over her eye. She ran up on my porch and she started screaming and crying. And she said, my eye, my eye. In the meantime, he took the keys to her vehicle and left. So she's screaming and she's yelling, my eye, look at my eye. It's her. And when I seen what he had done to her, I had to stay as calm as I could. And I was sick to my stomach, but I couldn't show her because I didn't want her to lose it. I grabbed her and I hugged her and I held her for a minute. Blood was everywhere, all over me, all over her. I got her kids to my house. I had my daughter, my daughter to watch them, and I rushed her to the hospital. Before she went in, I told her, prepare her for what she was about to experience. Because I worked in the emergency room, so I knew. I prepared her for what she was about to experience, and I knew, and I told her the truth. honey, you're gonna lose this eye. It was pulverized. It hit her in the eye with a broom handle, and it totally exploded her eye, the eyeball. I took her to the emergency room. I told her what to tell them, and I told her everything to expect. The police were gonna come, that she was gonna be admitted. She wasn't going home right away, so she needed to call someone to get her kids. I told her that she would be under an alias because that's what they do with crime victims. And I told her, you better let them press charges against this dude because he could have killed you. So that's what I advised her to do. Ultimately, people would do what they want to do, but that's what I advised her to do, which she did. But after what happened, it was not in her hands anymore anyway. It was the state picked it up. So once the state picks it up, whether you press charges or not, it's the same with Alicia. Once the state picks up the charges, then you, the victim, don't even have anything to do with it anymore. Except for testifying or whatever, But so she lost her eye because of that. He did get time. The prosecutor was like, "Oh, this is it for him." So he did get time. I didn't have to testify. I didn't have to be involved in it that way or anything. But and now she has her prosthesis and everything. This happened about, let me see. I want to say about 7 years ago now. But now I'm so proud of her because she's doing well. She's never stopped moving. She kept working through it all. She had to go through a lot to get to where she is right now. She had to go through a whole lot, you know. So now she's doing she's doing pretty good. But I mean, I'm sure she still experiences ups and downs. And with this being um, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, she gets calls to do speaking engagements and things like that, different places sometimes. So it's a reminder. And yeah, I think he got out this past year, this past summer. I think he got out. And but one of the things is he cannot have any contact with her or the kids because of the violence that you know. But domestic violence is real. And mental abuse, verbal abuse, all of that is real. And one day I'll come back and tell you more about my story, about my past experience as a teenager with domestic violence and as an adult with verbal and mental abuse. I'll talk to you about those and how I overcame those things. But on my way out, I just want to say be true to yourself. Be honest with yourself. Don't ignore the red flags. Whatever you do, don't ignore those red flags. Don't do that. You can't change the nature of a person. If that person is going to change, they have to do it themselves. You can't love it out of them. You can't be patient and wait it out. You can't buy it out. Can't push it out. Can't force it out. It has to be on them. But if a person is being verbally, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially abusive to you, you gotta go. And if they are not taking care of themselves and refuse your help, and it starts to be abusive to you, you need to go. Love you because only you can love you like nobody else can. You are worthy. You are important. God loves you, and I love you on purpose. And it ain't nothing you can do about it. Later for now.